Hello and welcome to another deck flip through episode. So we're working our way through the Commander decks from way back in 2011 and we're up to the third one now, which is the Counterpunch deck, and that's the black, green, white deck. And you can see here we've got Ghave on screen ready to go. And yeah, I do enjoy doing this. I think it's probably one of my favourite things. If you want to see the sort of full cards, because for these episodes, as you know, I just focus in on the artwork, I'll include a link to a nostalgia video I did, in which I do flip through the whole cards for this particular iteration of Commander. I don't have any unboxings for these particular decks. I mean, there is one unboxing and it's pretty grainy, but at that point I wasn't filming everything I opened. Obviously going forward for the later decks, that won't be the case, and I'll include links to those unboxings for when I get up to the next Commander series, which would be, was it 2013, because there was the Commander Arsenal between the two. Anyway, let's have a look here. We've left these with some of those like very thin tight sleeves on them, that I always use with these older decks to keep the cards nice, and then if I need to sleeve them up I can just double sleeve them. And this way they also actually fit in the boxes still. So you can see I'm moving through the higher rarities. I can remember when I used to open these decks, not just these but later Commander ones, I was always quite excited when, you know, particular decks might have a higher than usual legendary creature count in them, of ones where essentially you could use the Commander deck itself for other decks. There is some degree within the rarities of me sort of clustering together certain spell types as well, but that's not always going to be consistent. I make no apologies for maybe spending a little bit longer looking at artifacts and elementals as they come up, although I did notice we've just had an elemental, at least one, go by. And always interesting to see the various guild mages crop up in Commander decks as well. So we're moving on to the uncommons. Oh, Vampire Nighthawk. cards like Spike Feeder. As you probably noticed, with the commander, if you're familiar with some of the commanders in Magic, we may well see a number of pieces of artwork on cards which are, good with counters on creatures and saproling tokens and things like that, and maybe a little bit of possible fungus action going on here. I always loved that, what was it, there was a theme deck, I think it was called Fun with Fungus from back in the day. I've always been tempted to either track that down, and if it proves to be, expensive, which sometimes the theme decks are more expensive than buying the individual cards from that particular set, as I've done in the past, maybe track down individual cards and build a particular theme deck individually. So that's a possibility. I'll also include a link to the deck lists for this as well, because beyond the artwork, it's interesting to find out what particular cards were unique to this deck at the time, or this particular commander product, and hadn't up to this point appeared anywhere else. So we're still on the uncommons. There were these vows. There's a cycle of vows in, if you want to call it a set, in these decks. So for each deck it had the particular on-colour vows. And then we've got cards like Aura Shards and Skull Clamp. I think that wouldn't that be the original artwork, if I'm right? From the original Meridian block. And then we've got Soul Ring and Lightning Greaves. And moving on to the commons now. I think we probably saw a more recent piece of Fertilid artwork in one of the was it Friday artwork videos, I think, for a more recent set that I'm covering. You're probably noticing as well there's a number of spiders in here. Doomblade. And again, always interesting to see, what reprints of, say, spot removal cards they've included in the decks, or whether or not they have a particular spot removal card that they may have created specifically for this product. But we're in black, green, white, so certainly with the black and the white, we're going to see lots of interesting classic spot removal. And also trying to remember whether at this point in Magic's history things like fight type effects were spells were a thing for sort of green removal. Signet time. Yeah, always interesting to see that sort of filtering going on. And then we've got Temple of the False God, which made an appearance in quite a number of Commander decks over the period. And then we've got the Vivids, another popular inclusion in multicoloured decks for these particular products. The Cyclers as well. And, always makes me smile when I see the artwork for those. And of course the original Ravnica block lands. So those ones which come into the battlefield tap, they bounce things, but then when they come online, you get 2 mana of the appropriate colour. So full complement of bounce lands. We've got cards like Evolving Wilds and Rupture Spire, and of course Command Tower. You might be noticing quite a few of the non-basic lands that common that come up quite a bit in the Commander products over the years. So let's have a look at the artwork for the basic lands. I've clustered together the similar artwork, and this is particularly nice artwork in black. Having a little bit of trouble here with the slippery cards off camera. Try and avoid them slipping onto the floor. And then we're moving on to our forests. Yeah, I've probably said this before. I always feel that it would have been quite nice to have unique artwork for all of the basic lands. It would have been a nice sort of, twist is the wrong word, but with a format that is singletons. It would have been nice to reflect that in the choice of the artwork, to have different artwork for all of the basic lands. Would have been cool. Now we've got our planes, so this is nice. And of course I'm sure there's many people out there, like basic land aficionados, who've gone through these decks and actually substituted in their favourite lands, even if they actually haven't changed any other cards. So I imagine that's a thing. And there we have the last card. And as part of the contract with the cheese board, again, you have to have a little bit of time on camera. So thanks very much once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in the next video.